Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Woke students panic and protest as Iowa wipes out college DEI offices. From the Chronicle of Higher Education, amid protests, Iowa Regents begin messy process of rooting out DEI. From Campus Reform, students protest as Iowa State alters LGBT center under new anti-DEI law. This change affects staff roles and limits the center's ability to host events despite protests from pro-DEI students on campus, because it's against the law. And from Iowa City Press Citizen, how Iowa's 3 state universities are reacting to new DEI restrictions. They've now saved millions of dollars by closing down offices, laying off DEI people, and getting rid of these programs. Iowa's 3 public universities have redirected more than $2.1 million from diversity, equity, and inclusion roles and offices in response to a new state law and directives from the Iowa Board of Regents. Can you imagine you need to even have laws to tell public universities, stop wasting money on programs that are illegal programs? But yes, they needed to do it, and now they're doing it. Senate File 2435 prohibits the 3 state universities, the University of Iowa, the University of Northern Iowa, and Iowa State, from maintaining or funding DEI offices and prevents the schools from creating new offices. The law also states that the 3 universities cannot hire anyone to conduct the duties of a DEI office or require anyone to submit a DEI statement for any reason. However, according to the law, student organizations and student requirement offices are exempt, along with offices ensuring the universities follow state and federal laws. Though the bill won't go into effect until July 1st, 2025, the universities have already restructured many of their offices and conducted internal reviews with intentions for the schools to be compliant by December 31st, 2024. Quote, at the September board meeting, I said we would complete our work by the end of the calendar year. The board's review of the universities for compliance is complete, said Iowa Board of Regents President Sherry Bates during Thursday's board meeting at Cedar Falls. The universities have completed most of their work. There are some university efforts currently underway, and we will ensure that they will be completed as soon as possible. This review will not be static. So the universities are not fighting it, they are responding, and they're complying with the state law. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Report presented by Dr. Rachel Boone and Amy Clay noted that the Iowa Board of Regents office collaborated with the 3 university teams in June to examine university operations. The goal was to assess whether these areas align with the requirements from a structural perspective. The board is confident Iowa's public universities will be fully compliant by the new year, certainly by July 1st. Quote, all of us need to examine what we are doing to ensure that we are compliant with the law in everything we do as a board, our role in governance of this process, which we take seriously, according to Bates. Quote, we will continue to ensure that the universities are monitoring and evaluating their activities and programming to ensure ongoing compliance. Let me be clear, this statute has been adopted by the state and we will follow the law. Each school has conducted an internal review, having cut nearly 20 positions and several offices by analyzing several different departments and faculty positions. Here's how each university has addressed the new DEI requirements. University of Iowa eliminated 11 positions, saving nearly $900,000. The University of Iowa's Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is now the Division of Access, Opportunity, and Diversity. The new office has 2 sections, the Office of Civil Rights Compliance and the Office of Access and Support. As part of the restructuring, the University of Iowa eliminated 11 full-time positions, including 6 that were already vacant because of a hiring freeze. The university reallocated over $800,000 in salary costs to student success and programming needs. Additionally, 59 positions have been reviewed and modified to reduce or remove DEI responsibilities. The University of Iowa also cut DEI targeted programs and scholarships, such as those, quote, targeted towards minority students, and has redistributed them through the Slater Grant Program to support financially disadvantaged students. However, programs like TRIO and Upward Bound will remain, which aim to help students to overcome economic, social, academic, and cultural barriers to higher education. As long as it complies with the law, yes, you can still have scholarships and you can still have opportunities for students that need it. You just can't limit it based on skin color. Iowa State University closed its DEI office, redistributing nearly $800,000. Iowa State University closed its Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion office in July, which was responsible for supporting DEI programming, training, and workshops across campus. The closure allowed the university to redistribute almost $800,000. An internal review also determined that the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs does not meet the legal definition of a DEI office. Other offices, like the Office of Equal Opportunity, which handles, quote, investigation and resolution of discrimination and harassment complaints, education and training on state and federal civil rights obligations, and administration of the university's affirmative action plan, are DEI offices by definition, but necessary to ensure compliance with both state and federal law, and exempt because their functions are required according to the report. There are federal laws that do require that they have some of these nonsensical processes and offices open. Those are going to stay. To comply with the new law, Iowa State University will eliminate the Multicultural Student Success Office in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. The office, quote, works closely with students, staff, faculty, advisors, alumni, and the community to advocate for, engage with, and support multicultural, underrepresented, and first-generation students at Iowa State University. Those employees will transition to work in general student success roles. Iowa State University will also restructure its LGBT Center for Student Success, known as the Center. The Center is a space for you to be yourself, find and build community, get involved, and explore lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and ally life at Iowa State University, according to the school's website. The location will remain, but it will become a general reservation space for students with computer labs and study spaces. Currently, activities are run by 2 staff members who will be given to student organizations. The employees at the center jobs will continue to manage the center, but their jobs will be updated to provide support for all students and student organizations. So all students, not just certain kinds of students that have a playground at this office that they call the center. Not anymore. Additionally, departments that currently have diversity-focused committees will be reviewed. If these positions fall under the definition of DEI, which they most certainly will, they will either be restructured or eliminated. But there are some woke students that are not happy. Because if you're a student and you're going to a public university and you don't feel special enough, you need the state, the government, to pay for special services to make you feel more special and to meet more people just like you. Can't you just do that on your own? No, you need the government to pay for it. That's what they're complaining about. Well, it's not going to happen. The ISU Students Against SF 2435 Coalition, a pretty catchy name, was formed to combat the law's oncoming effects. Several students organized a rally in October 2024 to protest the closure of the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs and the Center for LGBT Student Success. One Iowa State student said campus diversity, equity, and inclusion resources were key when selecting a school to attend and noted how those resources influence others too. Quote, having connections with people like them can be really important for choosing a school, she went on to say. Somehow, people assume that because we're making spaces for groups that do not traditionally have it, that we're showing favoritism. That's not true. No, it's not about showing favoritism. It's about taking state resources and only allowing certain people to have access to those resources. You can't do that. UNI cut 5 positions, closes Diversity and Social Justice Office. To comply with the region's new DEI code, the University of Northern Iowa eliminated its Chief Diversity Officer position and the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Social Justice. The Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Social Justice functions, such as the multicultural education, retention, and mentoring, and military and veteran student services departments, were moved to different areas of the Division of Student Life. The UNI Center for Gender and Sexuality Services has been eliminated. The University of Northern Iowa reviewed 25 positions that performed DEI functions, 5 of which were eliminated. 1 position was reassigned as part of the restructuring. 5 other positions that performed DEI functions were also adjusted to enhance academic advising and general student support. General student support is completely fine. That means all students have access to those services. You don't have to have certain sexual preferences. You don't have to be of a certain race. You don't even have to be a certain gender. Everyone gets access. That's reasonable, that's fair, and that's what they're doing. The University of Northern Iowa redistributed the $486,000 previously used for DEI directives to support student success initiatives. The Iowa Regents Board office staff and UNI officials also reviewed 6 other organizational units, 5 of which do not qualify as DEI offices. The university also renamed its Office of Compliance and Equity Management to the Office of Civil Rights Compliance to be more representative of its functions on campus. The office works to ensure equal opportunity in education and employment for faculty, staff, and students, and to assure compliance with Title VII, Title IX, and other civil rights-based legislation. This is taking all of the ideological programs, breaking them down, closing offices, firing people, transferring a few other people, and just making sure that they absolutely cut it out and they go back to what's within the law. And what's within the law is to offer services on a fair basis to everyone and not discriminate against anyone because of gender or sexual preference. And these kinds of rollbacks and this kind of destruction of diversity, equity, and inclusion and all kinds of discrimination within these universities is going to be a national thing now. It's not going to be limited just to red states. From insight into diversity, the future of higher education under Trump. Donald Trump's victory in the 2024 presidential election has set the stage for sweeping changes in U.S. higher education, potentially reshaping college campuses nationwide. Central to his platform, Trump vowed to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education, a move that would shift regulatory power to states and potentially eliminate billions of dollars in scholarship funding for low-income students. A key element of this proposal is to do away with federal oversight and resources for diversity initiatives that many institutions currently rely on to foster inclusive campus environments. Though he would need approval from Congress to completely eliminate the department, Trump will likely seek to reallocate certain responsibilities and reduce funding for the department. This will absolutely happen. There will be massive changes, and it will not rely on Congress. Trump's Agenda 47 plan, as outlined during his campaign, targets what he terms leftist bias in the accreditation process, which currently includes inclusion and belonging as a measure of institutional compliance. He has proposed strict financial penalties for private universities with substantial endowments that refuse to align with his policies, suggesting that taxing and fining these institutions could generate significant revenue. Such measures, likely to spark extensive legal disputes, could reshape how institutions fund their operations and comply with federal guidelines. Many of these private institutions will not fight the federal government on this because a lawsuit is risky, and when you have risk, you have uncertainty. They do not like to interrupt funding or potentially even get hit with who knows how big the fines could be. And in this case, in this administration, the federal government would only be saying you cannot break the law. By eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion roles, Trump also aims to impose stricter controls on colleges and universities, focusing on traditional American values. This could jeopardize funding for DEI programs and lead to extensive layoffs of personnel dedicated to diversity-related work. Similarly, Trump has vocalized plans to remove what he calls equity-driven discrimination from institutions, proposing that universities engaging in race-based admissions face steep financial penalties and even endowment taxes if they fail to comply. Trump has also suggested ending student loan forgiveness programs. As an alternative to traditional education, he also proposed a lower-cost, expedited degree pathway through a new, federally funded online American Academy designed to be free of woke or political content. Further, Trump's approach includes enforcing stricter penalties on campus protests, potentially resulting in disciplinary measures for student demonstrators. As his administration takes shape, these proposed changes may bring substantial challenges to current DEI-focused policies and reshape the cultural landscape of U.S. colleges and universities. And that's something we would all welcome. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.